Hey YouTube, this is Lucas here. We're going to do a real quick tutorial on processing vocals. I hope you find it helpful, and please do subscribe and leave some comments below if you'd like me to make some more videos. So right now we're working with a vocal by an artist named Deavion. I'll leave a link in the description. It sounds like this.
Why did roads they keep taking me under?
So the first thing I like to add to my vocal is some saturation, especially with home and like project studio recording. Sometimes you may not be using crazy preamps or anything like that. It's really helpful to get some like analog vibe to it. And I found that the Ableton saturator is great for doing that. My sweet spot is about 6 dB here. I'm going to turn off the color and we're going to turn on the soft clip so it doesn't clip, but we're actually going to dial back this output so that isn't too big of an issue. There's so many different types of saturator plugins out there on the market. You can go crazy buying different ones, but for now, the Ableton one's great. If you're looking for some other stuff, I could definitely suggest checking out Soundtoys Plugins. There's also a lot of saturators on Plugin Alliance and Slate plugins too that have like specific preamp emulations and stuff like that. But ultimately, we're just adding a little bit of harmonic content to it, and the saturator sounds good, so we're going to start with that. Next, I'm going to go for an EQ, and right now I'll just demonstrate just like a process that we would just call subtractive EQing or surgical EQing, if you will. Ableton, it has a great EQ and it's really good on the CPU, so I recommend starting there. If you're interested in some other EQ plugins, some of the most popular ones are the FabFilter, Pro Qs, and the Massenburg EQ. Those are all great. And let me just show you what's going on here. So we're literally just going to use this to pull out some problematic frequencies. You're going to hear some boxiness and harshness, and I'm going to pull it out. And I'm not going to be too extreme. I still want things to sound natural. I don't want to go crazy. But you can feel free to go crazy and try out some different things because there's definitely a lot to do. So check this out.
Why did roads they?
If you hold Option, you can change the Q. Super helpful.
Why did roads they keep taking me under? Hop in the right, get to the side. I'm killing that shit like it's Fortnite. Watching the sun kiss the moonlight. Why did roads they keep taking me under? Hop in the right, get to the side. I'm killing that shit like it's Fortnite. Watching the sun kiss the moonlight.
Cool. So I pulled out a little in the mids and just added some air here. This is a nice looking EQ curve to me, and it's a good starting point, but this always changes depending on the singer, the microphone, the song, the room, all those things. So you basically have to do this as needed, but it's nice to have something to start out to get going, especially if you're like producing or something like that where you just kind of want a preset to sound decent to start out with. So there you go. Glue compressor. You can compress before or after. That is depends on the situation. But since we carved out some junk in the EQ, I'm going to try to compress it after, and we're going to go from there. Going for a fast attack since it's a sung vocal. If it was more of a rap, I would slow down the attack, and the release is fast. We're going to pull the threshold here and just do it to taste. And I'm going to add makeup gain too.
Why did roads they keep taking me under?
So the glue compressor is actually typically used for like buses. So what that basically means is it's a model of an SSL bus compressor. So you can, it's designed for using this on like a group of instruments or the master, which is great. But I found that it sounds awesome just right on vocals. If you choose to use the regular Ableton compressor, that's great too, as well as a million other compression VSTs that you can buy out there. I would definitely recommend checking out some of the Plugin Alliance stuff. They have really cool compressors. There are lots of plugins. Obviously, FabFilter has some good ones. Um, I really like the CL1B soft tube models and UAD as well. So there's lots of stuff out there. But for right now, Ableton's great and it's real easy on the CPU. So what you can't really argue with that. Okay, so this is what we're working with here. I'm going to group these together. So we hold Shift and do Command G to create an audio effect rack. And we're going to name this our vocal chain. I love Ableton because you can save this. You can also just drag it right into your browser. So I have a folder here. I have effects racks with vocal racks, and I can just drag that into there. And now we're just going to talk about adding some chorus to this. So this is kind of the little secret. I don't really like Ableton's chorus, but feel free to use that if that's the best option for you. But there's a bunch of free courses that you can get online, including this OSL chorus. And I'll also use one of these Soundtoys ones too, just to demonstrate. I like adding a tiny bit of chorus to the vocals just to give it a little bit of sparkle. So we're going to put this at about 10%. I tend to prefer not to have the chorus be very noticeable. Like I don't want the singer or the client to be like, oh, you just put chorus on my voice. It's just a little bit of sparkle added to it. So around 10% sounds nice. This one's free online. There's multiple free ones. You can get the TAL chorus. If you do want to spend some money, the Soundtoys stuff has a bunch of different ones that you can use for chorus. You just have to make sure you're careful with it and only dial it in a bit. Keep taking me under. This is sweet. And one plugin that many people use for vocals is the Valhalla Vintage Reverb, and for a variety of instruments as well. This plugin just sounds really good just in the default setup, so I highly recommend it. It's definitely like a good starting point for reverb, but with reverb you have to be really careful. I usually don't like dumping reverb on stuff. In this situation we have literally just vocals playing, so it's not that big of an issue, but in a big mix it can definitely be problematic. I tend to think of reverb as being like a separate, or adding like a separate instrument into the mix. It takes up a lot of space. I tend to also use it more for incidentals, like ad-libs, background vocals, reverse reverb, stuff like that. But that being said, in the right context, it can be great to add reverb just right on the track, or in a return if you prefer to use it as a return. Right now we're just working with this vocal. I'm not pouring a bunch of instruments into this verb, so we don't need to use a return. And also my last note about reverb is there's so many plugins too. You can go online and look up some different ones. Valhalla is just like a good starting point. So we're going to dial this in a little bit. Why runs they keep taking me under. Pulling out some of the lows here. You can mess with the pre-delay to taste. That essentially delays the reverb from kicking in immediately, so you can get rid of some mud that way. Yeah, this plugin just sounds really good out of the box, so I recommend it. There's a lot of different ones. I really like RP Verb by Rob Papin, and I also really like the Soft Tube TSAR reverb. Those are great. So yeah, this is our little vocal chain here. You can save this. Oh, and the last note that I did have about reverb is it's great, really recommended to have reverb and stuff going on when you're recording, if the artist is okay with that. I find that a lot of people feel more inspired when there's like some effects going on rather than just recording dry. So if you're trying to capture it's sort of have like a more fun production session, it's good to have some of this stuff all set up in a rack and you just load it in or have it in your template. I hope this was helpful. My name's Lucas. Leave some comments and subscribe if you want me to post some more videos. Thanks so much for watching.